Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another season of Yankees baseball. If you missed out on the offseason or on spring training, don't worry, this video has you covered. We'll be taking a detailed look at the Yankees 2023 roster, position by position, and we'll introduce you to the newest faces on the team, provide an overview of the pitching staff and the farm system, and discuss the biggest question marks headed into the 2023 campaign. Additionally, we'll examine the impact of the new rules, such as the pitch clock, on the game of baseball and how the Yankees might adjust. For those of you who are new to this channel, we'll also provide a brief overview of this podcast and the coverage you can expect this year. So, without further ado, let's dive in and get started with the Yankees 2023 season primer. Let's begin with the catcher position, the most difficult position on the diamond, and take a look at our organizational depth for 2023. At this time last year, a lot of Yankees fans had never heard of Jose Trevino, but he was acquired from the Texas Rangers for Albert Abreu after Ben Rortvedt went down with an injury. Now, a year later, Trevino is an all-star and a Platinum Glove winner, and Abreu is back with the Yankees organization, the only place he's ever really been effective. Overall, you have to rate this as a great trade, and Trevino might even get better this year. Imagine being cast into a completely new organization and having to learn an entirely new pitching staff, all while playing the aforementioned most difficult position on the field and playing in a career-high number of games. I'm amazed how well he did, and given how well he handled it, it would not shock me if he has an even better season in store for 2023. Kyle Higashioka remains the Yankees' primary backup catcher. After tearing up spring training in 2022, he got off to a very slow start but finished strong with a .227 average and 10 home runs on the season. He was once again solid behind the dish, and as a backup catcher, any offense that he gives you is a bonus. Austin Wells, former first-round draft pick, is one of the Yankees' top prospects, but he's out with an injury and will miss the beginning of the season. Don't be shocked, however, if he gets the call in September. All right, let's move on to first base. Once again, the Yankees have Anthony Rizzo coming back as their starting first baseman after receiving a 2-year contract this offseason with an option for a third year. He also played a huge role in Aaron Judge re-signing with the Yankees because their dogs are best friends.
There's one teammate in particular that helped you with your decision.
Rizzo, he played a big part.
Really?
He was calling me every day. He was sending me texts every day.
Not only are you guys friends, but your dogs are friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He went for my heart. So he went for my little Penny and his dog Kevin are the best of friends.
They're the best of friends.
He fits the mold of Yankees first baseman of the past to a T. He's got a sweet left-handed swing. He's a hard-nosed player. He's got effective power. He's a threat to the right field porch. And traditionally, he's been a fantastic defender, although if you believe the metrics, his defense may have taken a step back last year. Part of that could be because of a cranky back. He had an injury to the back that required him to miss some time late in the season. He had to have an epidural, and if you're unfamiliar with what an epidural is, it's essentially an injection into the spine, which is designed to relieve pain caused by inflammation or pressure on the nerves. Back injuries always make me nervous because we've seen them bring down so many great players, including Yankees legend Don Mattingly. But if the Yankees can effectively manage his workload, hopefully he can remain effective throughout the season. His batting average was down last year. That's partially due to the overshift, which has been banned, so he should be able to sneak a few more balls through the infield this season. More on that later. But the power is still there, and if he remains healthy, you can bet on at least 25 home runs and probably more. DJ LeMahieu won a Gold Glove for his utility work, and he'll be back at it again this season, splitting time between first base, second base, and third base. I'd expect to see him in there whenever the Yankees need to rest Rizzo's back. He's another guy, though, whose health has been iffy in recent years, so the Yankees are going to have to manage his workload as well. Andres Chaparro has primarily played third base in the minor leagues, but there's an old saying in baseball, If you can play third base, you can play first base, and the Yankees did give him some reps at first this spring. His bat, I think, is going to play. He's been turning heads this spring. He hits the ball very, very hard. He's got the nickname Quadzilla. I'd keep an eye out on him as a potential third-string option should the Yankees have a need. Second base is an area where things were getting interesting this spring. There was a lot of talk about potentially trading Gleyber Torres, despite him having a 4.1 WAR last season, second best on the team in terms of position players. DJ LeMahieu, as we all know, is a very versatile backup. He can back up at first base, second base, and third base, and he is your primary backup, I believe, at second base. Oswaldo Cabrera probably going to see some time over there as well. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I would imagine, will also be in that utility role. And Oswald Peraza, the loser of the shortstop battle, has been sent to AAA, and you have to imagine that he's going to get some time at second base in the minor leagues. Speaking of shortstop, that was, without a doubt, the most interesting battle this spring. 2019 first-round draft pick Anthony Volpe has won the job. He's just 21 years old. He's going to be the youngest Yankee to start on opening day since Derek Jeter. He's going to be the first Yankee to make his major league debut on opening day since Hideki Matsui. And by all accounts, he's ready. He looked good this spring. He showed power. He showed speed. He showed aggressiveness on the bases. He had good at-bats. He hits the ball to all fields. And he's a good kid. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do as a rookie. I've seen a lot of people saying he's going to be 30-30 right out of the gate, and I just want to say tap the brakes a little bit. Let's not put too much expectations on this kid. There's always growing pains when a player comes to the major leagues. Well, almost always. Some guys are a hit right out of the box, but even guys like Mike Trout struggled in their initial call-up. Derek Jeter struggled in his initial call-up. It wasn't until the following opening day that he really took off. So let's just tap the brakes and give this kid some time to adjust and hope that he can put together a fine rookie season. Primary backup is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I know a lot of Yankees fans, myself included, did not expect him to be on the roster this year. I anticipated a trade, and that still could happen. We still got a couple of days until opening day. But he's pretty much your primary shortstop backup. Oswaldo Cabrera can also back up at shortstop, but he's going to get a lot of time in the outfield. Yankees do have Aaron Hicks as an option in the outfield, and there's one more outfield spot we'll talk about. But I think that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa will remain on the team and will spell Anthony Volpe from time to time. Third base is another interesting position. The Yankees are saying that Josh Donaldson is going to be their primary third baseman. He obviously had a tough year last year. The power was down. It's worth noting that he's made some tweaks to his stance. He's a little bit more upright. That should create a better swing path. He still hit the ball pretty hard last year, and he still played good defense. So I wouldn't rule it out that a mechanical change could fix him. DJ LeMahieu is going to see a lot of time at third base. He's going to lead off a lot, and the Yankees really like him. Oswaldo Cabrera, as we mentioned, he can play everywhere. He'll probably play some at third base as well. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa won a Gold Glove over there. But your primary third baseman is going to be Josh Donaldson for the most part. And I'm just hoping that he can rebound because he does provide good defense. And all you need is a little bit better offense out of that spot. Less strikeouts. His strikeouts were up last year. I want to see less posing on would-be home runs that come up short. I'd like to see him play the game a little bit harder. There's no question about him playing the game hard on defense, but he's got to realize no one cares about your bat flips if the ball comes up 5 feet short of the wall. I'm going to lump the outfield together because a lot of these guys are interchangeable at different outfield positions. For instance, Aaron Judge plays both right field and center field, and this spring he's even played a little bit of left field. And the thing about Aaron Judge is he was so good last year that even if he's, say, 25% worse this year, he's still one of the best players in the league. If he hits 15 less home runs this season, that's still 47, which would probably put him up near the top of the league. Here's something else to watch out for if you have Aaron Judge in your fantasy leagues. Aaron Judge probably going to steal more bases this year. You know, the bases are bigger, makes the base paths a little bit shorter. He stole 16 bags last year, and he reads pitchers really well. And when you factor in the pitch clock, you know, I think he might steal 20 bags this year. Harrison Bader was scheduled to be the Yankees' opening day center fielder, but he's got an oblique injury, and that's going to keep him out for at least the first few weeks of the season. Good chance that you'll see him out there a lot this year, but he has had some injury issues, so watch out for that. He's a ton of fun to watch when he's in there. He's a high-energy ball player, always going 100%. He's an excellent defender. He's got a heck of an arm. He's got improving power. I was really looking forward to a full season of Harrison Bader, so hopefully this oblique injury doesn't linger or pop up again later in the season. Obliques can be an injury that pop up time and again. They're a very difficult condition to put in the rearview mirror. Giancarlo Stanton, he's a guy who needs to stay healthy for the full season. The Yankees are saying they're going to put him in the outfield 40 to 50 times this year. I don't know if I buy that. It seems like when they put him out in the outfield, he begins to break down, but he also hits better when he's in the field. He's a ton of fun to watch. Nobody hits the ball harder than Giancarlo Stanton. I just want to see what he can do over a full season of 150 games healthy with the Yankees and see if he can put up those numbers like he had in Miami. Aaron Hicks, probably going to be the Yankees' left fielder to begin the season, much to the chagrin of Yankees fans. Look, he was terrible last year. He hasn't looked particularly good in the outfield this spring, although he has looked better offensively. The Yankees do have some other options. Oswaldo Cabrera, we talked about him a lot. He's a switch hitter. He's young. He's high energy. He's fantastic on defense. He takes good routes. You might even call him a natural on defense, which means he might even get better because he really hadn't played the outfield that much when the Yankees called him up last season, and he ended up being terrific out there. So, sometimes it just comes more naturally to some people, and I think he would be a great fit if the Yankees choose to go with him in left field. Rafael Ortega, Willie Calhoun, a couple of guys who are trying to make the team. No word yet on if they're going to be able to do so. If they do, it'll likely be at the expense of Estevan Florial, longtime Yankees prospect who's on the fringe. If he doesn't make the team this year, he's out of options. The Yankees are going to have to move on from him. I think the most likely scenario is that he gets designated for assignment, and then you see him traded for practically nothing just before the season begins. Jason Dominguez, we've talked a lot about him on this channel, put on a hell of a show in spring training. He really could be the future superstar in this organization. Just 20 years old, just turned 20 years old in February. Power from both sides of the plate, speed, good arm, plays the game the right way. I think he's going to be a phenomenal Yankee for many, many years to come. And talent evaluators are now saying that he could make his major league debut in September of this year, so fingers crossed. All right, let's talk about the rotation, which has been somewhat decimated by injuries thus far. Garrett Cole is, of course, your number one. He's been healthy and pretty stable since joining the Yankees. He's missed a few starts here and there, but has avoided the major injury. Carlos Rodon on the IL to begin the season with a forearm strain. He's throwing bullpens. He should be about a month away. I think he's going to be terrific if healthy. Nestor Cortez is healthy. He's going to take the ball in Game 4. Luis Severino out with a back strain. They're saying 3 to 4 starts. I'll be surprised if it's that few. Domingo Germán and Clark Schmidt were both impressive this spring. Clark Schmidt has added a cutter, and it's been really effective, and he's using it against lefties to kind of mitigate some of those problems that he had against lefties last year. And Johnny Brito is a guy who throws a heavy sinker. He's going to be making his major league debut. Sounds like in the third game of the season. He's got what they call easy gas, and I don't mean that he goes to Taco Bell. I mean, it doesn't look like he's throwing hard, but you look up and you see 96, 97, and he's got some good sink to it. I think he can be really effective if he just pounds that sinker in the strike zone and picks up some nice, easy ground balls. Luis Gil, Frankie Montas can be out for most of the season. On the farm, you got Davy Garcia, and then you'll probably see Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito kind of go up and down throughout the season as needed. The bullpen is almost always a strength for the Yankees, at least in the Brian Cashman era, and I believe it's going to be a strength again this year. It was kind of decimated by injuries last year. Jonathan Loaizaga got off to a slow start, but he put it together towards the end of the season. Mike King got off to an amazing start and then got hurt about halfway through the season. He's back. He's healthy. Tommy Kahnle is back. He was signed as a free agent this offseason. He's injured right now with some biceps tendonitis, but he's not far behind. I imagine you'll see him at some point in May. Ron Marinaccio had a great rookie season. Albert Abreu seems to have found it with the Yankees, but can't really pitch anywhere else. But you gotta love the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Lou Trevino acquired last year. Greg Weissert showed a great slider. He's going to be up and down probably a lot this season. Wandy Peralta, terrific left-handed option out of the bullpen. And the Yankees are kind of short on left-handed pitching. And Jimmy Cordero made the team out of spring training. Looking forward to seeing what he can do out there. All right, let's talk about the major question marks this season. The first question that you have to ask is, will Hicks and Donaldson bounce back? They both had horrible years last year. Hicks even worse than Donaldson. They've both made adjustments this spring. It'll be interesting to see how much playing time the Yankees give those guys and whether or not they can return to form. I somehow doubt it with Hicks. Donaldson, maybe he showed a little bit more this spring, but jury's out. Question number 2. How will Anthony Volpe perform at shortstop? It's the most important position on the field, other than maybe starting pitcher. And the Yankees are leaving it to the youngest player on the roster. Look, I think he's ready. I think the consensus from scouts is that he's ready, but he did miss a year of the minor leagues due to COVID, and he's only played 22 games at AAA. So it is kind of a big leap. It's kind of an uncharacteristic leap for the Yankees to make in giving a rookie this kind of shot. And do the Yankees have enough pitching? Honestly, the starting pitching has already been decimated. If the Yankees have any more injuries, they're really going to have to test their depth in the minor leagues, and they don't have a lot of it. And finally, can they beat the Houston Astros? That's been the question for the last several years. And until they do it, you have to assume the answer is no. One positive is that the Astros have lost Justin Verlander. And you don't want to say this is a positive, but it definitely affects the Astros' potential record the first couple of months, which could affect home field advantage. But they've lost Altuve with a thumb injury during the World Baseball Classic. He's going to be out for a couple of months. And, you know, they're a Major League Baseball team, too. They can be affected by injuries and circumstance as well. So the Yankees might get lucky. But right now, you have to say that in a head-to-head matchup, the Astros would be the favorite. All right, these are the top prospects in the Yankees system. According to MLB Pipeline, Anthony Volpe, the number 1 prospect. He's probably going to graduate from this list in the first couple of months of the season. Jason Dominguez is your number 2 prospect. He's going to begin at AA. We already talked about him. I think there's a good chance that he makes the major leagues in September. I just was so blown away by what he did in spring. Oswald Peraza, another guy who's going to graduate from this list. He was called up last September, did a nice job. Austin Wells, unfortunately injured, as we mentioned. Hopefully he does not have any setbacks and he can get some reps this year because he was getting much, much better towards the end of last season. Spencer Jones, first-round draft pick, 6'7", draws comparisons to a left-handed Aaron Judge. We got to see him a little bit this spring. Everson Pereira, a promising outfielder with great bat speed. Trey Sweeney, another shortstop in the system, who it sounds like might shift over to third base, possibly even first base. Got a good left-handed swing. Drew Thorpe, right-handed pitcher. Will Warren, another righty that's moving up this list quicker and quicker. And Richard Fitz, who I've never actually seen pitch, but he is a right-handed pitcher as well. So as you can see, a lot of the Yankees' pitching depth is further down this list. Yankees really need to work on developing some young pitching. All right, we got to talk about the new rules. There's a lot of stuff that's different about Major League Baseball this year. Obviously, the pitch clock or pitch timer is a big issue. It's going to lead to more stolen bases because runners are going to be able to take advantage of that. It's going to lead to some weird calls where games end on violations and stuff. It's going to happen, so just be ready for it. Game is different. It evolves over time. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it has shaved about a half an hour off of the game, which is really important when recruiting young fans because, you know, nobody wants to sit through a 4.5-hour game when you're 10, 12 years old most of the time. Defensive shift restrictions. So the overshift is gone. You're still going to see some kind of variations of shift. You're going to see teams move their outfielders into the traditional short right field area, you know, and go without a left fielder possibly to protect against the ball getting through the right side. But the rule is you got to have 2 infielders positioned on either side of second base, and they can't be on the grass. Also, we're going to have bigger bases. This should lead to less injuries. They're not quite as rounded at the top. This is just something that medically makes a lot of sense. A lot of guys were slipping on the bags, and with these guys costing millions and millions of dollars, you want to take every step that you can to reasonably mitigate injuries. All right, this concludes my postseason / offseason / spring training coverage on this podcast. We're going to resume regular season coverage, which includes the live post-game show following pretty much every game. I don't always do the West Coast, but as the games have gotten shorter, we'll see. Also, the Yankee Chronicles. That's a new cinematic show. I'm aiming for weekly, probably between 15 and 30 minutes each episode. The first episode is actually going to come out on a Friday. The Friday after opening day will cover opening day. And then NYYPD. That's a weekly recap show that I'm doing with Pete and Frankie Baseball. Pete from NYY News TV. We also do the Designated Spitters podcast on his channel on Sundays. And the first one of these is going to happen on Thursday night. So the first week is a little bit different with the season beginning on Thursday. Not a whole week to recap. So we're just going to do kind of our thoughts on opening day. And then we'll resume the normal schedule beginning the following Friday. So that's what you can expect on this channel this season. And I'll see you when I see you.